Right. Zimbabwe Information Minister Monica Mutsvangwa has denied that the much-talked-about Patriot Bill is aimed at silencing those who are critical of the Zimbabwean government. Speaking to the SABC International News editor Sophie Mokoena, Mutsvangwa admitted that the country is facing economic challenges when the last few weeks the Zimbabwean currency lost value, which has led to fears that the country might experience economic problems similar to the ones that were experienced back in 2008.
You do whatever you do, you leave your country, and they are in self-exile, and you want now the president to go out searching for them, to say, where are you?
No, not searching for them. Not searching for them. If you want a...
Zimbabwe, President Mnangagwa says every Zimbabwean is free to come home.
You remember when he arrived in Zimbabwe, I was there. Yes. He said he is going to reach out to everybody to mend the relations. Did he do that? That's the question.
The President has been doing a lot of reaching out with our Zimbabweans who are in diaspora. If you notice, each trip he takes, wherever he goes, he makes it a point that he creates time to talk to Zimbabweans, explain what is happening home, explaining where opportunities are, explaining the fact that we are creating an industry, we are creating an economy, because you are gaining experience and expertise. We want you to come, because in the first place, all those Zimbabweans who left, they left because they were looking for greener pastures, because of the sanctions which were imposed on Zimbabwe. Most of the factories closed, and so a lot of Zimbabweans, because they are educated, and you know we are top in terms of literacy rate in Africa, that is attested by UNESCO. So President has been reaching out to diasporans. So, and he has said clearly that all Zimbabweans are welcome to come home.
But countries such as the United States of America, the European Union, member countries are saying these are targeted sanctions, and it is not the UN sanctions.
It is not UN sanctions. This is why they are illegal. And there is no country which should impose sanctions on another country. But this happened because it was a regime change agenda. The sanctions were meant to strangle the people of Zimbabwe so that they would scream. What did the sanctions do? They closed all the industries, no jobs. The hospitals had no medication, nothing happened. Zimbabwe couldn't access any capital. And the financial institutions didn't give any funding or access to capital to Zimbabwe. No country survived without international financial institutions, you know that. And Zimbabwe survived. Our president has said, with or without sanctions, we will build our economy. And this is what we are doing. If you come to Zimbabwe now, Sophie, I don't know when you were last in Zimbabwe, there's been a lot of work done coming to infrastructure, a lot of roads, starting from Bight Bridge, driving all the way to Harare, to Chirundu. All those roads have been done. Domestic resource mobilization. We have managed to use our own resources, God-given resources, to make sure that Zimbabwe survives. Zimbabwe is on the go.
It's true the sanctions started, targeted sanctions started during former President Mugabe's era. But the question is, there are still reports of corruption and maladministration. And when people see such reports, they say, yes, there are sanctions, but why is government not acting? I mean, the so-called gold mafia stories and documentaries, I know the government might deny some of the information, but some of the information is true. What is the government doing to clamp down on corruption?
I think the government is on record that any reports which are of corruption will be dealt with. Investigations will be done all the way to the bottom. No stone is going to be left unturned until the result, because we don't want corruption either. Corruption actually brings the country's economy down. This is why the government of Second Republic has actually given teeth to Zimbabwe ZAC, which is Zimbabwe Corruption. ZAC is Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Cooperative Company, ZAC. And they are there to make sure that they follow through. It doesn't matter whether you're a public figure or you're a private person. they will go through the investigations. And most of these dockets go to the judiciary, and judiciary are there to deal with them. We have dealt with some corruption. And the fact that today we have so many roads, so many dams which have been built, so many infrastructure, it means that there has been corruption which has been nipped in the bud. The monies which are building all the roads, the monies which have been building we have even gone into towns. The opposition have been running our country for more than 2 decades. And what have they done? Nothing except to leave all the infrastructure, whether it's water reticulation, zero, electricity, zero, waste management, zero, and government has actually declared emergency. This is under the Second Republic, under President Mugabe. We have gone into towns, we've started making the roads, we've started making sure people have got water, because we have to deal with the cholera, all these diseases which come without water. So really, all this money is not coming from outside. It's coming from within the country.
Many Zimbabweans, let me talk about those one interact with in South Africa, would want to go back home. I mean, no one wants to leave his home country, but the economic situation, it's not promising. What is government doing to rebuild and strengthen the economy? People want to go back home.
Sophie, the economy, we are building our economy in Zimbabwe. We will talk about gold. Thank God, all these God-given resources, natural resources we have. We have pushed from a mere 22 tons from 2015. We have moved to 35 tons of gold. And what we have done is we've made sure that artisanal miners, the small-scale miners, have been equipped, they've been given an environment, and they are bringing in 60% of what we are producing in terms of gold. And that gold is money, is bringing money to Zimbabwe. So we have been building, if you go to Wange, we are building electricity. All the economic enablers are being put into place, because you can't transform an economy without electricity, you can't do it without water, we can't do it without all the required things. And we are, in terms of construction of dams, because we need agriculture. Our agriculture, Sophie, for your own information, this has never happened in so many years. We are now food self-sufficient. There's food security in Zimbabwe. Our president is the brainchild of the agricultural climate proof. And that one has made everyone self-sufficient. Even with a drought last year, we had enough in our reserves to feed our people. We are not using that foreign currency to import maize, which is our staple food. Since 2004, we have never produced more than 300 tons of wheat. This last year, we have produced wheat, which is for more than 30 months. This year, we have even increased the hectarage of wheat. So we have done a lot in tobacco, Sophie. This year alone, we have broken the record. So really, for anybody to say there's nothing happening in Zimbabwe is somebody who is sitting in the past. There's a lot happening in Zimbabwe. We want our Zimbabweans to come. The reason why they left is because they want a job. And we are doing everything to create jobs so that when they come back, that expertise, that experience which they are gaining, we want them to give it back to their own country. And Zimbabwe is on the go. We are building our own economy, which will benefit each and every Zimbabwean. That's why devolution funds have been put there to make sure everyone from all the 10 provinces actually participate actively, economically. Zimbabweans is for Zimbabweans, and we will fight hard to make sure that we uplift the lives of all Zimbabweans.
And finally, Minister, the issue of the currency. How are you addressing the current challenge? I mean, you look at the value of the currency. There are serious challenges.
These are serious challenges. I totally agree with you. It's hitting on our people. This happens each time when we're going for elections. The economic fundamentals in our country don't deserve our currency to be going through all these challenges. But these are political challenges, and we overcome them. The government has put a lot of measures, and we are beginning to see now the prices coming down. We'll continue working hard, because our government is our government of the people. We want to make sure that the lives of our people is changed. We want to make sure that every Zimbabwean, where they are, they should be proud of who they are, that they are Zimbabwean.